Hello there, I'm Lisa Lindfield. I'm a board-certified financial planner, CEO of Southern Pride Wealth, and host of the Working Women's Wealth podcast, available on your favorite podcast or music app. Now we're just over halfway through our series on debt. In the first episode, we started looking at the total cost of debt, including all those hidden fees and the cost to you of not being able to do the things you want to do. In the second episode, we looked at 5 ways to lower your debt. And then, in the previous episode, we looked at the 3 most popular approaches to paying off your debt. Today, we're going to unpack some of the terms that are used when it comes to debt. The first one is understanding the difference between debt counselling and debt consolidation. Now, a common mistake that many people make, especially in South Africa, is that people go into debt counselling thinking that they're doing debt consolidation. So let's break down these 2 terms so that you really can understand the difference. Debt consolidation. Now, we chatted quite a bit about debt consolidation in the last episode, and it is around moving all of your different outstanding debts with different providers to one low-cost debt or loan. Now, for some people, it is a good strategy because it gives them only one thing to focus on, and they pay less in interest and fees. But for many, they end up dropping the amount that they're paying every single month, and so their debt takes way longer to pay off. And in the end, they end up paying way more interest. That furniture that should have cost you 3,000 Rand ends up costing you 15,000 Rand or more. I see it particularly when people take money out of their home loan and settle their credit card debts. And they're so proud. They say to me, Lisa, it's going to save me 1,000 Rand on my monthly repayments. Yes, and you'll end up paying for that furniture for the next 20 years until your home loan is repaid. If you decide to follow this approach, you need to commit at a minimum to pay the exact same monthly payments you were paying to all your different loans to repay this one loan as quickly as possible. And you need to make sure that you can pay off the loan early and that they're not huge termination or penalty fees. There are specific debt consolidation loans you can get, but you will need a good credit score to get them. So use this tool wisely. Do not end up paying for something over many, many years. Now, debt counselling is a South African initiative to enable you to get a qualified person to help you pay off your debts. It's a formal legal process that falls under the National Credit Act, and debt counsellors are regulated by the National Credit Regulator. It's also known as debt review. So what is debt counselling? When you enter into a formal debt counselling arrangement, the debt counsellor ring fences all of your debt. So what happens? Well, once the debt counselling application is accepted, the debt counsellor gets hold of every one of the lending companies you owe money to and informs them that you are now under the legal process of debt review. The credit bureau is also informed, and we'll chat more on that later. The lending companies may no longer contact you and may not take any legal action against you once you're in debt review. The debt counsellor will sit with you, put a budget together, and work out how you can settle this debt in the quickest possible time, while still trying to keep your home. The debt counsellor will also try and renegotiate the terms of your repayments with each and every lender. Maybe they will get them to change the interest or suspend some of the fees, but they will try and renegotiate the terms for all of your repayments. You will pay one payment, and each of the lending companies will be paid by the debt counselor or the payment service provider their share of that particular payment. So why would you go into debt counselling? Well, there are many reasons, and for the right person, it could be the right solution. Firstly, there's only one person you need to deal with, and they deal with all the lenders. The phone calls, the letters, the emails from the lending companies will stop. Secondly, there's only one payment you need to make, and they make sure that that money gets to the lenders. Thirdly, they have experience with negotiating with lending companies to reduce the debt or interest or fees. Fourthly, the process is governed by law, so none of your lending companies can take legal action against you once you're in debt counselling. And lastly, a plan and a budget will be drawn up for you to stick to so that you can get out of debt. So what should you know about debt counselling, and why do sometimes people go in thinking it's one thing and end up coming out with a very different experience? Firstly, you need to know that you cannot get any further credit or loans whilst you're under debt review. No lender is legally allowed to give you any more loans. Secondly, if you're married in a community of property or by customary marriage, or share an income with your wife or husband, they will automatically be included in the process, and they will not be able to get a loan. Thirdly, it does cost money. Now, the National Credit Regulator guidelines are as follows. It costs 50 Rand just to apply, and if your application is rejected, you'll need to pay 300 Rand. If your application is accepted, you can pay the less of the first installment or 6,000 Rand at that first installment. Thirdly, a monthly fee of up to 5% or a maximum of 400 Rand for the first 24 months, which will drop to 3% or that maximum of 400 Rand after that. And lastly, a legal fee for a consent order of 750 Rand. So it is also important that you know that once you're in debt review, it is very difficult to withdraw from debt review until your debt is settled. You actually have to go to court to do that. So if you're over indebted, this may be the right way forward for you. But, like all things, do your homework and make sure that the company you go with has a great reputation and has been in business for a while. Like every industry, there are good companies and bad ones. And when it comes to your hard-earned money and your family's financial future, make sure you partner with the right one. Now, there's another concept that often comes up, which is related to this, called your credit score. So what really is your credit score, and what are credit bureaus? If you're a lender and I approach you for money, the biggest question you have is, how likely is Lisa to pay me back? Now, I could tell you I earn a huge salary and have no debts, when in fact I may earn not that much money and have lots of debt. When people are desperate, they'll try anything. So to solve that problem, there are companies called credit bureaus. The National Credit Act requires all lenders to provide credit information to credit bureaus. There are 4 main bureaus in South Africa. So when you take out a loan, they will tell the bureau the details of the loan so that if you apply for another loan, that lender can get the full picture. By law, a lender can't lend you more money if you're already over indebted. They also track how good you are at paying the debts. So every month you miss a payment or don't pay in full, they will record that for everyone else in the lending community to see. Then they can see whether you're a good risk or a bad risk. Remember, if you have a loan with someone else, that loan also gets put into your name. So how does a good credit score help you? Well, credit bureaus summarize all the information on you into a score known as your credit score. And that then tells lenders whether it's good for them to risk lending to you or whether you're a bad risk and not likely to pay. If your credit score is good, then not only will they lend to you, but they will charge you less interest. If your credit score is bad, then your loan application may get declined, or you will get charged a lot of interest to cover the risk of you not paying back. So it's important, if you want to borrow money, to have a good credit score, and therefore it's important that you make sure you pay your debts on time and in full. Your score can change every month depending on your payment profile for the month and how much debt you owe. So why should you access your credit record? By law, every credit bureau has to provide you with one free credit report a year. This is a summary of all the information that's held about you. Most of them have apps or ways that you can access it more frequently. I use an app called ClearScore, which shows me my score whenever I want and helps me know why my score is the way it is. These apps are easy to understand with the information displayed in pretty dashboards. Most times I use it for teaching, as I'm very diligent about my debt. But in writing for this article, I went on just to check out something, only to discover that there was a missed payment last month on a credit card I do not own. It really brought home exactly why it's so important for everyone, good credit score or not, to check your credit record. Firstly, it helps you pick up if anyone has committed fraud and opened a card in your name and be able to stop it early. Secondly, it helps you see if your payments are reflecting or something has gone wrong. Thirdly, it helps you see who says you owe them money. It's particularly helpful when you think you've paid off a debt and the lender or cell phone company hasn't closed the account and keeps charging you money, racking up fees you owe them. Every time you finish paying off debt or close any form of account, make sure you check on the credit report that the account is closed and chase them until it is. It helps you work out what you need to do in order to improve your credit score. So make sure you access your credit report today and make a plan to improve it. Getting your finances in order relieves a huge amount of stress and worry. I know so many of us prefer to dig our heads in the sand and ignore what's really going on. It may feel like a mountain to climb to resolve it, but it's a mountain worth climbing, and you can get to the other side. Start today to get your money sorted out. Do your research and find someone to help you get on track. I'm Lisa Lindfield, and if you'd like to learn more about money, head over to your podcast app and listen to Working Women's Wealth. Take care and have a great day.